Hi everyone, my name is Tori, this is Noah Life, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have some hockey romances to share with you. So yes, I know that hockey season is technically over, but I think we're all still in our hockey era, hockey romance era. I like to say I'm back on my hockey bullshit, but I can't necessarily put that in the title of a video, because YouTube will take it down. Anyway, I have a lot of hockey romances to share with you. So since I did my last hockey romance recommendations video, which I'll link in the cards in the description box below, I've read a lot. Some have been really good, and that's why they're in this recommendations video, and some have not been so good, which we're not going to talk about those. But with all that being said, I have like 8 to share with you, so let's just go ahead and jump right in. You can let me know your favorite hockey romance you've read so far this year, or one you've read recently in the comments down below. Let me know. But yeah, the first one is Shut Out by Avery Keelan. So I am someone who, when I read Offside by Avery Keelan at the beginning of the year, fell in love with that book. Fell in freaking love, okay? Because the friends to lovers, the pining, all of that, just perfection to me. Perfection. And so I was really nervous for Shut Out because I was like, ooh, is it going to live up to Offside? Is it going to be as good as Offside? Like, is it going to compare, right? It did. It was a 5-star read for me. I freaking loved it. So I will say that the female character has a thing with pink. Her hair's pink. Everything's pink. She loves pink, right? That's me in a nutshell. If I could dye my hair pink, I would. I'm just too scared to. Anyway, so we have our female character, and she's technically the sister of one of the guys on the hockey team. So we pretty much know a decent amount of the hockey people from the first book. You could read them as complete standalones too. Like, you're not going to be confused. But in this case, you know that the female character, her brother's on the hockey team, and our main male character, he is also on the hockey team, but she moves into like the hockey house with 3 other guys on the hockey team. But the kicker is with this book, which I loved so freaking much, is that Tyler, our main male character, and Serafina, our female character, they had like a one-night stand at a Halloween party. Technically in the previous book, there was like a Halloween party. Apparently they hooked up then. So they didn't really know who each other was because they were just wearing Halloween costumes and they both had masks on, and they also wasn't paying it really attention. But like, she recognized one of his tattoos because he's covered in tattoos, which I freaking love that. I love that he's covered in tattoos. It is perfection to me. But basically, so when she moves into the house, she sees Tyler and she recognizes that too, and that tattoo, and they're like, oh shit. How are we going to keep a secret from my teammate and her brother? Like, how are we going to keep this secret? But they have this intense chemistry that literally is just like, they cannot stay away from each other. They literally cannot. And I just thought the whole book was so, so good. Our female character is definitely going on this like journey of not self-discovery, but like figuring out what she wants to do, what she wants to do with her life, go to college, what she wants to study and all that. And Tyler is like, I know what I want to do. I know what I need to do. It was so good, and I freaking loved it. But definitely check out that book. If you've read Offside, definitely check out Shut Out. If you haven't read either, start with either book because they're both really good. But Offside was in a previous romance recommendation of mine. The next book I have is the Wildcat Hockey series by Rebecca Jenshak. So I read this as a Patreon exclusive read-along. I read the first 3 books in this series. The 4th one isn't out yet, but Wildcat is the first one. The second one is Wild About You, and the 3rd one is Wild Ever After. This one was a 4-star read for me. I loved the dynamics between the characters, Leo and Scarlett, in this book. So I would recommend reading. You don't have to read them in order. They're kind of like all interconnected standalones. But this one was really good. But my favorite that I want to recommend out of all of them is Wild About You by Rebecca Jenshak. This is a second chance romance. Oh my God. It was so emotional. So good. Like, I was hooked from the start with them. So Tyler is a rookie. You see him in the first book. He's a rookie. He doesn't really talk. He's kind of like getting his footing on the team, trying to like work everything out. And then his sister, who is a decent amount younger than him, he's like in his 20s and she's 18. She just turned 18. She calls him and was like, I have to come live with you. And he's like, what? Why? Apparently their mom is like not the greatest and she needs to like get away and stuff like that. So she lives with Tyler, but she's like rebelling and doing all this stuff. Well, come to find out that one of the teachers for the school that she gets into, which is like a private school that one of the other hockey players, like parents run it or something like that, like they have connections or whatever. And so she starts going to this private school, and one of the teachers or like assistant teachers is Tyler's ex, is our main male character's ex-girlfriend. And they had not a bad breakup, but it's one of those things where he let her go because he was going in the hockey direction and he wanted her to have like the normal high school, college experience because they were both 18, and she is severely heartbroken over that. So it's like him trying to prove to her that like, I still want you. I did it for a reason, but that doesn't change how I feel about you. So freaking good. It was so good. Like, I was hooked and I could not stop reading it. Very much a found family aspect with a hockey team, which I loved. The female character and our main male character obviously have a lot to work through, but his sister also plays a part in that, and she has her own little journey, and I loved it, and I cannot wait for the next book in the series, which the 4th book in the series. I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm excited for that character story because his name is Ash, and I really appreciate him, and I loved him, especially what he did in the 2nd book. But yeah, that's a really good hockey one because they're in the NHL, so they play professional hockey and they travel a lot and stuff like that. The next book I want to talk about is Meet Your Match by Candy Steiner. This is her new release. It's her first book in her new hockey series, which is Kings of the Ice, and this one was a really fun time. If you're looking for that, definitely check out this. I gave this 4 stars. It was just very fun. So sometimes like I see like with some of her books, they can be really emotional, but like Close Quarters, that's just a really fun, enjoyable read. And that's kind of like where I put this book. It's not love letter to whiskey, like angsty and emotional, but it was still very fun and enjoyable read. I only could read this at night because I didn't have time during the day to read, but it was hard for me to like put down and go to sleep because I wanted to keep reading, but I was excited to pick it up when I was reading to go to sleep. So basically our female character, you see her, she's trying to like get her career started and like jump started and stuff like that. And she joins this kind of like podcast business with the Tampa Bay Babes. And I thought that was a really cute name. But our main male character, he is on the NHL. He's like the playboy, I guess you can say, of the hockey team. And she gets this assignment where she has to follow the rookie. I think he's a rookie. Follow him around, like the newest player to the team, around for a month and like post on Instagram. And he goes viral, okay? Now, what makes this interesting is because like she's filming him and doing all this stuff for him, but he's like looking at her. So like they're forced together, kind of like workplace. They're supposed to keep things, you know, like distant because they're not supposed to go together, like be together or anything like that. And I just thought this was such a fun and enjoyable read. Like it was just fun. It was a good time. It was a solid read. Like this is what I want to pick up when I just want something nice to read where I know it's going to be a good book and I know I'm going to enjoy it and it's just like I eat it up. So like that's the best way I can describe this book, but I thought the dynamics were really good and I found it very, very interesting. So I would highly recommend this one too. The next book I have is On Thin Ice by Ellie Cotton. So this one is the 2nd book in her series. Technically it's the 2nd book, but they can all technically be read as a standalone. I read Break the Ice earlier this year. Really enjoyed that one, but On Thin Ice takes a different approach because it actually has a like chronic illness representation in it of celiac disease, and our female character has celiac disease, so she talks a lot about that, which I personally really, really love. I think that the representation of the celiac disease was really good because it was like every single time that she went out, you know, like she had to figure out what to eat and if it's, you know, if she could eat at this restaurant or this or that, or like someone was like, I tried to make you something, here you go, I promise it's gluten-free, and she tries it. And I mean, like they probably had like some cross-contamination that they didn't think about, but it was like the thought that, you know, they were trying to make something completely gluten-free. So I felt like it was so relatable if you have celiac disease. But then our main male character, he has a brother who is on the autism spectrum. And I heard from other people who read this book who either works with autistic kids or has autistic kids that the representation was really, really good too. It was so sweet, the relationship that they have, because their dad is not in the picture. So like he's kind of like that father figure to him. He goes to this like center near the college where a female character actually is like kind of like volunteering and working and stuff like that. And the brother becomes attached to her because he like starts to like her, like find her attractive. But he's like 13 and she's like in her 20s, 19, 20, something like that. And it's just like this really cute relationship that they have. And she's trying to explain to him what her celiac disease is, like why she can't have pancakes. And it was just a very cute book. But also like it opens his eyes to like, oh, I didn't realize celiac disease was that intense. Like no one really talks about it. But he's severely grumpy. It's a grumpy sunshine. Oh my God, he's so grumpy. He's one of those things where he's like grumpy for everyone else but her. And I thought the story was so well done because it shows how like he struggles with wanting to have this hockey career and go forward, but he has his mom and his brother that he's trying to take care of and make sure they're good too. So it was a really good, enjoyable read. I listened to the audiobook. Highly recommend that one. The next one I have is Rule Number 5 by Jessa Wilder. I have talked about this book before and probably another romance recommendations video that I did recently, but I love this because it's one of those things where she has all of these rules, and no, rule number 5 is that she doesn't date hockey players, which we all know that doesn't always happen, okay? Like, we all know that she's gonna end up being with him, but there is so much pining in this book, so much freaking pining that I died. Like, I died, and I ate it up by how much pining there was, because he's trying so hard. He's like, I know that she's the one. Like, I see her, I know her, I want to get to know her more, and I know she's the one for me. And I know that she is going to, like, at some point, I'm going to get her. I don't care how long it's going to take. That's literally the whole premise of this book, of him, like, knocking down each of those rules. Like, don't give away your phone number. No FaceTiming. We're only hooking up once. No hockey players. No nicknames. It was fantastic, and I absolutely loved it. Absolutely enjoyed it. Such a good read. I've never read anything by this author, but it was actually on the top 100 Amazon charts a while ago. And I was like, why is this on the charts? Let's pick it up and see. And I understood why it was on the charts. It was a very enjoyable read. The next one I have to share with you is Gravity by Tal Bauer. So Tal Bauer is an author that he writes a lot of romances, and some of them primarily are hockey romances. Now, a lot of his books with the hockey romances that I've heard, they're extremely emotional, but it's like outside emotional things that cause the people in the book, like the emotional damage that they go through. So, like, for example, in Gravity, which is my first book by this author, and I cannot wait to read more, but basically one of the main male characters, he is like a legend in the hockey world. He is an NHL player. He's been an NHL player for years and all this stuff like that. And they go to like an all-star game, and the other main male character is a big fan of his, and he's kind of like newer to the NHL. He just got signed. And so they all go to the all-star game, and they have this instant connection on the ice. And by like connection, I mean like they play very well together. They just like, they know each other where they're like, you know, hit. I don't know all the hockey terminology, okay? But he was like, one of them will hit the puck to the other, and they just like know what to do. Like, they just are in sync, they vibe together, and it's like everyone's amazed on the ice, okay? Like, everyone's amazed watching them. But then after the All-Star game and after the All-Star weekend, they have to go their separate ways. But they start spending more and more time together off the ice during that weekend. And one of our characters leans in to kiss the other one. And he's like, whoa, like, I'm not like that. And our other main male character freaks out. He's like, I am so sorry. Please don't tell anyone. Like, he's ashamed of who he is and who he likes because he's a man in the NHL, like in a male, I guess, sport. And he doesn't want it to get out because he doesn't want people to feel awkward or be awkward around him or treat him differently or whatever. But so when they go their separate ways, their season starts tanking. Like, they both start playing like shit. But they obviously know that they had a connection on the ice. So the rookie gets transferred to the team where the main male character, the more popular main male character, is. And so they literally just have to like work things out. Like, he's obviously embarrassed with what happened, and he's trying to tell him, like, don't be embarrassed, it's fine. But then that makes him think, like, do I want him to do that? Like, I've never been interested in guys. So it's one of those kind of like situations, and I love it. It was so beautiful. The ending of this book, though, what happens on the ice, something happens on the ice. I literally almost died reading this book. Like, I literally almost cried. Like, I was tearing up because I was so emotional by what happens, and I don't want to say what happens. But like the way that Tal Bauer wrote that scene, I could picture it in my head, and I was like, it was so real to me. It was so real, and I loved it. But the last book I have to talk about is just, I'm going to throw it out there because it's one of my favorites of the year so far. And that is Right Man, Right Time by Megan Quinn. I'm someone who said this before. Megan Quinn and I don't always vibe together, okay, with her writing. But this book, for some reason, I ate it up. It was a 5-star read. Could not get enough of it, cannot get it out of my head. And what makes this fun is that it's an age gap romance. He's in the NHL and she's still in college. And they meet at a bar. She goes up to him and was like, I'm going to give you 5 seconds. I'm trying to make my ex jealous over there. I'm going to kiss you. Please tell me if you don't want that. He doesn't stop her, and they kiss. So they have this fake dating situation because our main male character, he just got out of a relationship with, like, he was going to propose to this woman, like, after 10 years of them being together or something like that. But he finds her in bed with another people, I should say. And so he's like, I don't want anything to do with women, but she starts working for the hockey team that he plays for. So he's like, oh, well, I guess we'll both get something out of it. And they have this like super interesting like connection because they start like fake dating, so they obviously have to do all the touches and the hugs and the kisses and stuff like that in front of people, but they actually have this very serious friendship where they open up to each other. Like, he stays in her dorm sometimes, she goes over to his house to use the gym and the sauna. There's some things that happen in the sauna. It was great. It was sexy and steamy and fun and great, and it was just an all-around good time. Highly recommend that one if you're looking for a good time. But those are all the hockey romance recommendations I have to share with you today. Drop me some type of hockey emoji in the comments down below. Some ice, a puck, I think there's only hockey sticks actually, a guy playing hockey. Whatever you want to drop me in the comments down below, do it. Or just drop me a blue heart because I'm wearing a blue t-shirt. Whatever works for this video. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content from me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.